And we're officially live.
Beautiful.
Welcome, everyone, to our Tuesday template building from a very cold South Africa where I am, snowing, and the first time in like so many years
Oh
that
wow,
we are feeling snow.
oh, that's pretty cool. I hope it's enough to enjoy it. Because with
No,
snow, it's
in the mountains, but not where I am. You know, the snow comes and just as it hit the ground, it turns into
well,
water. So it's
yeah.
like not that big.
Well, we're still in confused New England where I'm at. So in New England, there's a saying, if you don't know what the weather's like, or if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes and it'll change. So
Oh, well.
yeah, but it's really cool to really like experience in person other people saying, yeah, it's cold where I am, where it's not
Yeah,
cold where I
small
am.
world, right? Such a small world, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, good morning. I see people coming in from the comments. Good morning, Tom. How are you today? Thanks for joining us. Jackie, I'm excited for
Right.
today's session.
Yes, I think it's going to be a quick one than the previous one, and I've
Yep.
actually did some changes, not changes really. I've just moved the elements around so
Okay.
that it makes sense. That's basically it.
Cool. Well, we can do a screen share. We can start that off. And if you're joining us for the first time, last few sessions we were creating this one shop or one product online shop, and the idea is that we want people to get the sense of like a checkout as soon as they land on the page, and then if they scroll down they start getting your typical landing page elements, like more product features, product benefits, some things about the company. So we're building out those panels now, and I'm really excited to see what we come up with as you scroll down further. And as a reminder, the logo and the images were created using AI, which I think is a really cool uh, just point of conversation here. All right, and last time we built out this panel, which I think is looking great. Oh, I like that animation that you added, Jackie.
Yeah, I think it looks cool too, for sure.
Cool.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, while you were talking about a landing page with a buy button at the top or the product straight away to cart, I was thinking it's almost like counterintuitive what we normally do
Yeah.
in these type of things. But I was thinking sometimes you will find products that are in demand, and you know your business is in demand, and you know your product is in demand. And I think that makes up for the fact that the button is at the top immediately, trying to get them to make that purchase. You know, um, I
Totally.
don't think it can work for every single kind of business out there, but I think for an e-commerce kind of thing, when you know something is in demand, it is a cool feature to have for
Yeah.
sure. All right, so our second panel was the health benefits. And I think, and I'm going to share my screen with the next one here. The next one that we are looking at was this video kind of thing, and then some testimonials. But Peter, I don't know about you. There was something that just came into my mind just before we went live. And I was thinking that sometimes you will see on a website scrolling like a line, like almost like an authority to say, okay, you've been on in the Forbes magazine, or you've been in WebMD, or you've been there. And I think that could be a nice thing to separate our video, because a video, you just add the video. So I don't really need to do much with adding a video. Between the video and between the testimonials, or above the video, to have that kind of thing. So I was thinking, if it's okay with you, that I can go and add, and we just see what it looks like to get an idea. If it doesn't work, we just scan it.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I don't mind if the testimonials and that trust bar you were talking about live above the video. I don't think that's too big of a
Yeah,
deal. Yeah.
yeah,
So we
definitely.
can, yeah, we can like skip the video for right now, and
Yes.
that trust bar and the testimonials at the bottom, and then move into
Because
the
I think a video could be more of how to unwrap it or how to set it up. That's the kind of video, in anyways, on a page like this. It's not how to sit on a couch. It's you receive this package. How do you set it up in your home? So it's not a major video.
Sure.
It's
You
not a
could also,
sales video.
yeah, you could also make the argument that if you're going to create a video for your product, that video needs to live outside of your website on ads and other places that can drive traffic to your site. And obviously, this is product dependent. There's a million reasons to create really good video on your website. But if we were to skip that for right now, I think I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking, so in this panel, I'm just going to add another panel right here below that. And I'm just going to, sorry, I just want to put my phone off because I know it's going to ring in the most awkward times.
Yeah.
There we go. So I'm just going to delete the text so that we can work with just the panel right here. And, to save us some time, I've uploaded some images, but we're going to play around with it. I was just thinking now to get the idea of what it's going to look like. So let's just go grab an image right here. And then I'll speak about this because there's actually two ways of doing this. But let me first add the image or the images. And I've just uploaded just a bunch of ones. It doesn't really, it's not very important or doesn't really fit the bar, if I want to put it that way. So let me see how many I've uploaded here. So there's 3 or 4. So, I mean, obviously, I don't think it's going to be in Vogue, but why not? Maybe it could be in Vogue. So let's just duplicate that one. Sorry, I'm just going to go grab my box because we might need to move this. And I always preach this, but I never do it. So I think I've got a few there. Let me just delete that one. Make it a little bit smaller. And then just change the few that I've got here. And I think I'm just going to have these 3. Probably that would be enough.
Yeah, and this is something that we see on a lot of e-commerce stores, and I think it makes a lot of sense for any industry really to show, if you've been in publications, if you have some brand awareness that's out there in the world, you want to tell people that. So I think it's pretty valuable to do.
All right, so we can just make that transparent. Obviously, it's not the best graphics that I've downloaded, but it gets the idea.
Sure.
So now what I was thinking, what I wanted to say about this, especially when you design it on Builderall, there's different things you can do. You can actually go and have these logos on a panel and add it to a panel in Canva and then upload it into the background. The problem I have with that is when it comes to the mobile part, it's going to be squished and you're not going to be able to see it on mobile because it becomes so small.
Right.
But when you import it like one by one, you can really manipulate it, what it's going to look like inside of mobile. Or you can altogether omit it from mobile. Because remember, guys, it's always about keeping the most important things on mobile to not slow it down. And these are images. So if it doesn't look right on mobile, you can always go and hide it. But this is one of the ways that you can play around with it and obviously change your background to different colors. I think we can look at that in a moment once we've added our testimonials. I don't know if you want to say something about that, Pierre.
Just adding, sorry, I was distracted elsewhere.
No, that's fine.
You were talking about the logos being a
Yeah,
panel on.
adding the testimonials now, and then we can decide what we want to do with them. If we want to give a color background,
Yeah,
like we would have had there at the top.
yes,
I
I
mean,
definitely would do that.
we can play around with that. If I just do this. I can't remember if we saved the background. Yes, we actually did. But then it means that these logos, I need to go make them white.
Yeah, could we pick a different color just to move it
Yes.
along? Yeah, maybe like the orange. But I think so with websites, the thing that we need to keep in mind is that we're really fighting for people's attention. And I want people's, if anyone has any questions, drop them in the comment section, and we can do like a quick live Q&A. Jackie, I don't know if you're familiar with the research, but Nelson, are you familiar with Nelson, the data company?
Yes.
Yes. So formerly in the past, they would be the company, or they were. I'm sure they still do. They release the ratings for TV shows and things of that nature to sort of identify how much engagement people are having with TV shows. They've evolved dramatically, especially with the internet. They've done a lot of research on how people consume information on screens.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of study, a lot of research behind the way people's eyes pattern over websites and how their attention changes over time. So as people scroll your website, their attention is actually fading.
Yes.
They don't read like a book. They sort of read in an F pattern. So if you can all imagine a really big F placed on your screen, that's just how the eye navigates the screen. So they read the top sentence and then they come back to somewhere towards the middle of the screen and they read halfway through the page and they go back to the bottom and they read there. And so with that in mind, we really want to pay attention to the color changes that happen on the website, how much copy and where we place that copy on the screen to sort of catch those spots, right? Those areas of interest that people are gonna sort of scan over, right? So having a variation in color, in typography, in design, having some line that kind of drives you down the page and catches that user's eye is something to really keep in mind as we design websites or any piece of content rather. But yeah, that's just something that so I'm always a big fan of adding color to panels, especially important panels that, like the testimonial, it's sort of a big statement, right? When people come to the website, we're saying, hey, we've been to all of these places that you know about, other people know about us too. We're not a nobody brand, we're trying to make a name for ourselves, and this is how to kind of showcase that. So, and I like the orange that you had.
Yeah, definitely.
It follows that yellow in the beanbag really nicely.
It does. It does. The color there, right there. All right. Let's go and add some testimonials so that we can get an idea of what it's going to. I'm just adding another panel. I always do that because I just want to be able to move and give some space to it.
But
so
before
we
we
know.
move on, before we move on, Jackie, I think it's important to add a button underneath that beanbag that you have. So before the trust bar, right there, underneath, less neck and shoulder strain, having a button there, I think, is important, just to reiterate that there is a call to action happening at some point, right? We
Definitely. I actually forgot about that. Perfect.
All right. Cool. And we can also like maybe do it in green. Is that possible? I'm being a little nitpicky here, but
that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
The idea here is that we want the color to stand out as much as possible.
To pop.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
Beautiful. I
It's
love what you
both.
did with. So on this website, we've standardized the fonts, we've pre-selected all the fonts, and we've sort of pre-saved all of the colors. So just following those alone will give us a pretty consistent look and feel throughout. So I'm kind of excited to see that kind of come into play.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do the testimonial part. Now, obviously, there is some panels that you can add for testimonials. And I'm going to show you guys what is available. And then we're going to make a decision. And I'm going to tell you why I am changing it and not using exactly this panel. So you can see there is a variety you can choose from in this area right here. You can see there's different ones. So I'm going to go and just choose one right here. It's going to drop it right for me at the bottom. And I'm actually going to use this, but I love it to be in a rotation banner so that we can have multiple things happening on the website. There needs to be a little bit of animation happening. We already have animation here coming in, but the animation that's going to happen on the testimonials is like a fade in and fade out. It's just very, very subtle. And that is what I like to do. So I'm just going to quickly just drag and drop. We've done this before in our previous sessions by adding a rotation banner. I think a rotation banner is something that's been used quite often for websites because it works so well. So I'm just going to delete these boxes so that we work with one at a time. And you can see we've only got the one group. And then I'm going to remove the content there. And you guys are going to see how easy this is actually. And we're going to delete that one. I love doing testimonials. Let me just go down here. And see now you're going to see exactly my whole point here. We can see that this block, all the content is in this block. So we can freely move this around and even delete it. But look now at these guys. They are not in a block. And that is so frustrating. If you are starting to build sites and things, you're going to definitely want to make sure that your content is inside of a box so that you can easily duplicate, change, save it, all those different kinds of things. And over time, especially as a person that builds a lot of websites, you're going to see that you will start saving certain elements that you use over and over and over. And it's going to make your life so much easier when you start building websites that you're not going to have to reinvent the wheel. You're just going to literally grab it from your personal elements, which you're going to find in that section right there. And you would be able to add it to your page. It's just going to make it so much easier. All right. So now we've got it in this block, but I'm going to move this now up into our rotation banner. And I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm just going to delete this box at the bottom again. And remember, if you guys are deleting something by mistake, we've got the undo button now. We waited so long for that undo button. I'm so glad that we've got it.
Yeah.
It makes everything so much easier. So I'm just going to bring this in so it makes a little bit of sense. And then we're not going to put in the details of each of these blocks because, I mean, I don't know what they said. This is a great product, whatever it is, but I am going to add something extra. So before we do anything else, I'm just going to copy, just put that one there, and I'm just going to copy it so that we can use it and play around with it. There is reason for the madness. When you do things like this, you're going to learn over time that you rather play around with the elements and change it. And once it's done, then you add it into the places that it needs to be. Because if you start clicking around inside of this block, you might be moving something or whatever the case might be. So it's always better to go and play around with your elements the way I just did now by moving it outside of a box. So I'm just going to move it to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a star from our icon. I abuse this section of Builderall. I really abuse it because it's just too awesome to use. And then I'm going to just have that one. And I'm going to add another one. And I'm just going to click star. And we're just going to do like 5 of those ones, because that is our reviews. And I'm just doing this so that you guys can see how it's done. I think that's 4. And there's 5. And save. So there is our 3 stars or 5 stars. And now you can make it bigger or smaller. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click. And you'll see there's a little blue block. I don't know if you guys can see that all around it. So once that double blue block is there, that means you now can go and change the color of that block. So now I'm changing the color so that we can have all red, not all red, all that color, whatever gold if you want to put it that way. So I'm just going to go and take the background away. And then we can also add a box.
Jackie, there's this trend that I'm seeing kind of pop up all over the place lately. On people's websites, on companies' websites, below the testimonial, people are adding user-generated content. So like reels from TikTok or Instagram of people either using the product or reviewing the product right on the website. And I think that's such a cool idea to just highlight that these are like real people. And I think it just boosts the trust factor so much more when you're able to just see that sort of right in place before you buy or as you're ready to buy. It just puts you in that mindset, makes you feel better, and you just go through with the process. So I think that's just something cool to think about. I don't know if you want to create a spot for it. I don't think we
I think
have that plan, but say again.
I think we can do something awesome.
Cool. Yeah, we didn't have anything planned really, but we can come up with something on the spot. That's what these sessions are for.
I like that idea. So I'm just going to duplicate this quickly with the same face. The reason why I'm doing this is now I do not want to go and add one by one, and that's why we're doing this. And there is it. And now if you've got multiples, you just need to click on the group where it says slider page 0 and clone the element. And then you're going to see there is another one. And then you just need to change the images and the client's details, and then you're good to go with that part. But this is the special part now. If you right click for the group, it's going to open up its own little settings here on the side. And you're going to see slider transition. I love the fade in and fade out because it is so subtle. You can have slider that goes from left to right if you want to, but we normally use that kind of thing in most of the top of the fold. I see that being used a lot. And if you guys watch our session that we did the restaurant, the barbecue restaurant, we actually make use of the rotation banner for our text to move on top of the banner itself. And that one was also fade in and fade out. But you can have a slider that goes from one main panel moving to another main panel. It just takes a little bit of playing around. So we're going to do the fade in, and you can allow to have it autoplay, or you can have arrow. I'm just going to remove the arrow and just have autoplay time, and then we'll do it to 5,000 so that it can go slower. And then we can click save so that we can get that content up and going. Now, the user-generated things that you talk about on TikTok, would that be the client or the owner of the website's information that has been shown? I'm now very curious to know.
No, it would be like a customer, like like someone who purchased and posted about the product online. They link to that video and embed it right into the website. So, something like a YouTube Shorts, for example, would be something that we can look at. I don't know how we can. It's basically just an embedded video. So
Okay.
here, let me see.
I'm now thinking just to.
Yeah, it would
do
just need to be like the size of that, like that
video.
reel. Yeah, that reel format.
Yeah.
And I would just place some boxes next to each other.
I'm just pulling it out. I think if we can do one, I'm just going to take a reel somewhere. Let's see if I can find a reel that would look nice.
Yeah, I'm already on it. Let me get you.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Here we go. I'm gonna share this on your WhatsApp.
Okay. Okay. Copy link. All right. So let's just go and get that video.
And full disclosure, I have no idea what this is actually going to look like once we embed it. So it might look awful.
But that's what
in that case, we can just deal with that. All right. It looks like we can't really add shorts, right? That's what it looks like.
No, wait, let me just do something here. Sometimes there is a difference between a video that you embed from here or if you use an iframe. Sometimes the iframe will generate a different view. Let's just see what the iframe is going to do if we have the iframe added to it. Okay, doesn't want to do that one. Let me just do YouTube Shorts. Is that the embedded code they gave?
Well, no, it's just the URL that I
just the link.
copied, yeah.
Let's see what it looks like if it's live. Maybe it does work if it's live. Let's just say it says invalid URL.
Okay. Let's try this video.
I just want to see quickly here as well. Okay. Copy link. There we go.
Okay, so it does need to be video, like just a normal video size.
No, I don't like that block.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
Let me just save it. Yeah, instead of the normal video that you would have had, you can have now your user-generated video. That is a good idea.
Makes sense. And you know, a lot of times, especially with, I think there's a milestone in time pre and post COVID 2020, and everyone quarantining. I think it dropped the requirements of video, the video quality, sort of changed. The expectation prior was that you want really high production, really well polished videos. Whereas nowadays, I feel like having user generated content has its own authenticity.
Yes.
And people respond to that too, especially if it's coming from, let's say, a YouTube channel that doesn't belong to the web, to the business itself. You know, it makes people feel like they could trust it a little bit more.
Okay. We just grab that quickly.
Yeah. And on that point, I can just talk a little bit more about that. It does make sense for people to not trust everything the company says about itself, because we are here trying to promote the business, so if we say that it's a great product, of course we're going to say it's a great product. But if someone external, someone who doesn't really have a huge following, goes out and says, hey, this is a great product that I've been using, it adds a little bit more authenticity and people tend to believe it more. So that is something that we want to keep in mind.
Definitely.
Not all content needs to be highly polished.
I'm just adding some content just to make it look better. Just like that.
And from here, would we just go with the footer?
Yeah. I just want to remove something here because this one's animation is not going to work. I just want to take the animation here away because otherwise it goes over the other ones. That one could be stuck and the other ones can move in. I was just thinking about that now for a moment. All right. For footer, that is going to be so easy. The footer, we're just going to grab a panel. And again, you can go take a look online what other people are doing with their footers. Or you can use the existing ones we have. I kind of love this one specifically, and I'll tell you why. And it's because of the information that you can add to it and the color schemes and the newsletter and all that kind of stuff. It's already in one area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I prefer to have this specific footer with the content that is available in it. But I was just wondering now, Pierre, should this thing be that color at the top?
I'm open to changing it. What are you thinking?
I don't know. I just, no, that's not going to work.
Well, that doesn't work with the logo, but we have a logo variation that's black and white. What does that blue look like? The brighter blue. I don't love it.
Nah, stick with what we have. I was just thinking maybe it would be different, but it's definitely not. All right, so now we've got...
I do want to say there's definitely been sort of a style movement from the very top of the page to the bottom, right? Like here we're color heavy. There's a lot of things happening, but then as you scroll down, it sort of cleans up. And I think I prefer this a little bit more. You see where you had the graphics and the elements here behind the pouch. I think I prefer that over having a lot of color. And I think just to counteract
cleaner look.
Yeah. To tie everything together, I think some of these panels need to have a little bit more color than just that white sort of washed here in the back. Maybe a pattern, maybe... Actually,
I think we should go with a pattern. I think a pattern would be...
Yeah. Here's something that I'd like to do, and maybe we can hop into your Canva and I can give you some prompts here that are... or actually, maybe I can do it here myself and we can share the screen.
Just want to take this border away. Save. I tend to like to make use of a background that is faded
Mm-hmm.
in the back, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. So I was thinking, you know how we have the logo, our logo for
Yeah.
Bean. We have the two beans. I always like whenever we have an element here that we can use, let's take those beans and duplicate them across the screen, both colors, duplicate them across the screen and make like a pattern with just the beans next to each other, and then drop the opacity a little bit,
Yeah.
and then we can see what that looks like and maybe use that as a pattern for the whole website.
That is a good idea. Let me just go grab your images here again.
For sure. Other things that people can use while you do that, I can just talk through some design thoughts. And obviously, you know, I know not everyone's a designer, but it's cool to just keep that in the back of your mind, even if you're directing a designer to do some work and throwing out some ideas. I think something like this would be interesting. Using elements to create patterns and using scale to change what you see. So taking that bean, for example, and blowing it up as much as you can and having that be an element on the side of your panel, let's say, could be really cool. Creating a pattern could also be really cool. So it just goes down to, you know, getting creative with the things that you already have. And we can go through here with Jackie and create both of those examples. Jackie, I think Canva has that background remover that actually works quite well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think I would like us to start there. If you select the image and then on the top ribbon.
To go for the background remover.
And then making that a little bit smaller. Actually, like a lot smaller. Yeah. Yes. Yes, something like this. And then if you can organize them. Oh, are you going for a diagonal or next to each other? I actually was thinking a little bit tighter.
Closer.
Yes. Yes. If you want to like grab all of those elements and create like a very defined grid.
Okay.
Oh, read my mind. Canva also has a lot of features for those who don't know. You can select everything and use that align elements option, and you can tell it to tidy up, and it'll space
I
things.
don't even know those options. You should teach me that.
Well, you can right click on all of those, and underneath that it says space evenly, and then it says tidy up. You can just hit tidy
Oh
up.
my word. That
Yeah.
is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
You see.
Yeah. So
Why
something
can I
like
not?
this is actually interesting. And we can, yes, maybe that's a little too much. Maybe at 50%.
Oops.
I like that. I wanted to show our viewers another option. Could you create another
Okay.
page, a blank page, and bring in that logo one more time? And obviously, we want to do the background remover again, if that's possible.
I think it's already removed.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oops. I just removed the dot.
And Jackie, if it's okay with you, I want you to take that shape and blow it up as much as you can. Make it like huge. Even bigger. Even bigger. Even bigger. Even bigger. Yeah, there you go. And if
Okay.
you something like this, and then have it be on like the very lower left-hand corner or right-hand corner, excuse me.
Right
Okay.
hand corner.
This is one option. Another option would be maybe exploring it on the other side of the
Yeah,
page.
depending on the quality of the image, because this
Right.
is
Yeah, right now it's gonna get, but if you have a vector image, you can expand it as much as you can. So
yeah.
just those two, we got two ideas of what we can use with that simple shape from the logo. You know, we can take it, we can spin it around, we can rotate it, we can have it be, just the colors of the panel, be the logo itself, like just really big. Explore, and it took us 2 minutes, but we treated it like a creative exercise. And yeah, so we have two options. I like the top one a little bit more for our website, but we can explore those elements.
Let's go take a look what the page one. I'm just making it small as possible for our site.
Yeah.
So definitely not going to have it there. We can probably have it here. Oops. Up there. Change background. Let's see what it looks like.
Cool. I like that. I think that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Maybe we can change the scale.
Yeah, that's definitely.
What do you think? Well, it's definitely a fun approach. And we do want it to repeat. I think that's fine if it does repeat. Yeah.
Nope, not that one.
Well, why don't we go with a much smaller? I think it was the middle one and on the top. Yeah. Yes. And then we have it repeat X and Y.
Repeat. Repeat Y. It doesn't want to do.
To the right. Yeah, the middle option. The middle option. Yes, right there. Yes, perfect.
And then this, we're going to have a box behind that.
Yeah. Interesting. It does look a little busy. I will say it does look a little busy, but I don't want us to spend all our time today doing that. It is a cool idea. But in this case, I think it is busy. What does everyone think in the comment section? Would you keep or would you get rid of this?
I think the other one would look better.
Yeah. We do have a question. Can I make a blog in Builderall? Absolutely. Actually, having a blog in Builderall is very easy to use and to integrate into your web page. And Jackie, do we have time to go through what that looks like?
Yeah,
Could
that's
you give us
easy.
a really quick?
Yeah,
maybe
I
we
can show that.
Yeah.
I can show that. We can add a block to this whole page of ours.
Yeah. Nuanza says the background is too busy. I kind of agree.
Let's go page 2.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I think page 2 is going to be so much better for us.
Yeah, I think so too. It was worth exploring. You know, sometimes you can discover really cool patterns. I think with this, it's sort of a little much. But yeah, the only way to find out is to do it, right?
To do the next one. And that's what we've been doing all along. And that's what I love about these sessions, is that we play around until you find something that actually works.
Yeah. And sometimes, hey, listen, it's going to be ugly, you know, and that's okay. You know, that's okay. We can just come back and make it nice and change the details, and that'll be totally fine.
Now, this one is going to be no repeat.
Right.
And I just want to, there's one specific. Let's not repeat. Just want to see which one is going to be better.
Yeah. And maybe with this format, if you can hit that arrow down.
I still don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Can we just go back to a normal color?
Yeah.
And maybe we can have the background be that blue from the logo for this panel. And I think doing that is probably enough action for this panel. Yeah. Yeah, I actually think that's probably the best one.
And that one needs to change. Save. This button is not, color doesn't fit there.
Yeah. What are you thinking, green or white?
No, it's definitely white. Whoops.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's just save this. And publish. So let's go quickly take a look at how you would connect a blog. And that is so easy. So I'm just going to go out of the site. So the first thing here is we need to make sure that your website is published. Then on the left-hand side, you'll see blog. And then it's going to ask you to create a new blog. You can see I've got multiple blogs here, but you're going to click on new blog. And you're going to give it a description. And then it says connect to which website. You can connect it later, but it's totally up to you. So you need to choose which website you are going to connect it to. So before we do that, sorry, I need to give this website a name. So I'm just going to go back to the settings. Otherwise, everything is cheetah, and I don't know which one it is.
Yeah. And this is in response to a question from, I'm not even going to attempt your name. Sorry, I don't want to butcher it. Our friend here in the comment section, can I make a blog in Builderall? The answer is yes, and it's actually really easy.
All right, so now we can go back to where I was. New blog. Oops, sorry. Beanbag. Good description. The description that you see here is got nothing to do with meta tags and SEO. It's just for your sake, there is beanbag. Then you can select a template and you can change the thumbnail. But at this stage, we're just going to go and create it. So I can show you how to apply it. Now it says you can create your first post, but I'm just going to click. And you're going to see now right here, it says beanbag. So it's already been created. Now a thumbnail that we see just now is like these ones here, that you can have your thumbnail connected in that area. So you can also mark it as favorite, like I have got the one there at the top. If I do that, it's just going to jump to the top, just meaning it's one that you are constantly working on. And then right here is where you go to the post lists. Now there's a variety of different things you can do. We're not going to go through all of them. But if you create a new post, it's going to be right here, new post. You're going to give it a title. And you're going to give it the author. Now, I always say it's good to go and add your authors from the beginning. All right. So I'm going to have to go through the motions here quickly so that you can see what it looks like when it's live on the site. And then you can change your avatar or whatever. Let me just add a bean there. I think we've got the bean bag or something added here. So let me just look for an image. Let's say it's this little bot. Or let's do this woman. So that's your avatar. You can click save. You can add your social media too if you want your social media to be shown. But in this case, we're just going to go through the motions. We're going to go to post, new post, my blog post. We're going to say author is me. Let's give it a thumbnail. And guys, I'm just now using what is available here so that we can get something on the site. So now you can see there is the blog, the author, how many times it's been visited, and it's currently in draft. This is where you can make it featured. Feature means is the highlight of the page, the highlight at the top of the page. This is where you're going to do your meta tags. And if you want to copy or delete. So to edit, you just click that button quite easily. So let's pretend this is your post. So like the normal widget that you will find at the top, editor, you got the editor and you can write your information. Right here is your custom URL, your thumbnail that you're going to use, the categories. If you have set up your categories in advance, you can choose it there. Then you will take it out of the draft mode and click save. All right. Go to post list and you will see that it's been published. All right. If there was categories, you can see it there. And you can also schedule it in advance if you don't want it to be posted immediately. All right. So how do you get this now into your website? So I'm going to close that. I'm going to go to the website and I'm just going to refresh. And now you're going to see it shows blog feed and blog post. So for the blog feed, it doesn't mean that it's ready. You just have to click on the icon and you will see that it's blank. All right. And it's because now you've got the freedom to design the way you want to and let the blog look the way you want to. So what happens now is when you add a blog, there's new elements that will appear. Blog featured, blog food news, general groups, blog lists, a lot of different kinds of things. So because this is the feed, there's a variety that you can choose different feeds. You can see this is the one that we've just posted. And then if you click on this little arrow here, you can choose how you want it to be shown. All right. I'm not going to go into detail because this can change different views. It doesn't have to look like this. You've got all the different kinds of elements on the right-hand side that you can play around with the look and feel of what it looks like. And what's very cool about our builder is that you can make it smaller and bigger. So if I choose that I only want to have 2 at a time, then you can do that and it will change and adjust. I only have the one post, which means is you can start adding in iframe here and adding other content. Maybe you've got affiliate links or you've got AdSense or whatever the case might be, maybe a funnel or a newsletter opt-in, all can happen on this page. Then you're going to click save. Then the next step is to make sure that you also go and add the blog post. A lot of people skip this because they don't realize, they think once they connect it, it's connected. But that is what makes Builderall so unique, is the fact that you can manipulate the content that's going to be on your page. So now you can go by blog post and you can add your blog post to it. And I've just added it twice because I'm trigger happy. So you can do something like this. That could be the piece of your blog post. And then you can have, maybe you want some a search button or something like that. You can have your search button added to it. You can maybe have, and I'm just now playing around with it, you can have categories. I can't show you the categories because we don't have that. But you can go and add your email marketing form if you've got an email marketing form. So let's just go down here. Email. Let me just go elements. And you can add your email marketing form to it. I didn't add a list there, but you can see what I mean. And then once you're done, you're just going to click save. And that is how you add your blog. Then it's up and running. All you need to do now is to literally go and add it to the top of your menu at the top where it says blog. Or you can add it even to show you how advanced our system is. If I close that, and I'm going to use this now as an example, the Bean site that we have. If you want to add your blog into the website, all you really need to do is you can have a preview of it. You don't have to have it on that specific page. So let's say that, and I'm just going to move this up for 2 seconds. Let's say you want to add a piece of content onto this specific area. You can do that. So if I go and add, let me just look for, not that one. Sorry, I just trigger happier again. Let me click that one, and we're going to go to the blog groups. You're going to see there's different kinds that you can add. So let's say I'm going to go with this one here. This is how nice it can become on your website, and you can add some additional content. This actually looks so nice. We should actually talk about adding a blog into the Bean, talking about important health reasons of having a being part of it. So you can see what I'm saying here is you can really go and play around with it and add just one piece of content onto your main page. It doesn't have to be on the blog itself. So if they click read more, it's going to automatically go to that specific post. So that is literally how you would add a blog. I hope that answered the questions that we had.
Beautiful. I think.
Can I use a blog as a directory? I don't know why you would use it as a directory of what. Because remember, directory is something where you've got a lot of content or of listings. It's listicles that you will have in a directory. So if you want to create a blog for listings, you probably can do that, but I don't think it's functional. And I don't think it will work very functional as that. If you want to create a directory in Awanza, I would suggest you go with AI. And AI can create a directory and you can just embed it. Especially if you're using WordPress with Builderall. The possibilities are endless. When it comes to Builderall, you can do anything. If you are a person that wants to add really different kinds of things like a directory or a forum or something that we do not have in Builderall, you can still have it on your website. If you make use of WordPress and the WordPress Pro inside of Builderall, then you can have both worlds. You can maybe have a homepage built in Builderall, and you can have your directory that is also still in your same domain. It's just a WordPress page. So the two actually works together. One is on WordPress and the other page is on Builderall, but it's one website. That's really, really cool to do that kind of thing in any ways.
Cool. Well, that brings us up to time today. What a fun session. I think, we did a lot on this specific page. I think what we want to do next time, Jackie, is create a brand new concept, right? We're going to come up with a new page and a new idea, a new concept, and maybe next time I'll drive for a little bit. I think that's
please.
I'm thinking maybe we do something that's mobile first.
Yeah,
So
that
like
would be
design
very
for
cool.
mobile first, and we'll see what that looks like, and just go from there. I think that would be pretty interesting.
I think so too. That would be awesome. I think we've got questions here.
Yeah.
One is that it allows you to have images in a consistent format and you can tag and group items. I think it could work.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can, but I don't think it is functional with regards to being a directory, Stacey, and I'm going to tell you why. Because directory pages are picked up for SEO searches.
Hmm.
So I don't know how are people going to search for specific. I suppose if you add all those different kinds of categories, it probably can. But this is the challenge. I love it when our users come up with these things. Nwanza, you're the one that asked about it. Why don't you go and try and create a directory with the blog? You will be the first one in Builderall that's done something like that. And you might just get a huge following and you can start promoting that on YouTube and get people to join Builderall and create a directory with the blog.
Cool.
So that is that's something to play around with.
Nice. Well, I'm really excited that we're wrapping up this. This would be the third of our websites that that are done and dusted. I think I'm excited for the next one. Jackie, what do you think? What do you think of this page? I think we did a great job.
Yeah, it's great. I like it. I just think the footer needs to be finalized. I think the footer is it's a finalized thing that still needs to happen. But other than that, I think it's nice. It's great.
Nice.
Excited for the mobile first because that is where the world is heading.
Right.
We always tend to build our desktop first.
Right. Very true. All right. Well, thank you all for your time. Thank you for your engagement. And we will see you next week, same time, same place. Hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so that next time we go live, you can get that notification and join us again. Jackie,
Awesome.
as always,
Thank you so
great
much, Beer.
spending time with you. Thank you.
Same
We'll see you
there.
all
Bye,
later.
guys.